The Princess of Wales works at her own pace. She recounts her journey. Royal moments are magnetic and resonate beyond palace gates, not only crowns and ceremonies. How one decision can change global debates is unpredictable. When a Qatari prince gave Catherine, Princess of Wales, a staggering £2 million treasure, royal observers and diplomats held their breath. The gift? A stunning collection of rare jewels with rich histories. Catherine's next move shocked the globe. Royal gesture beyond gems. Catherine, Princess of Wales, was the center of a stunning but delicate occasion during a Riyadh state reception in February 2025. Diplomats, royal watchers, and dignitaries from throughout the world filled the grand hall under golden chandeliers. She received a velvet box here. The Rose of Jeddah, a stunning necklace with a perfect 20-carat pink diamond from Australia's Argyle mine, was within. It was jewelry and a symbol. A great Parisian jeweler created the necklace, which combined Saudi architectural splendor, arches, star patterns, and beautiful filigree in diamonds and white gold. Its blush color radiated riches and intent like a desert sunset. The Saudi royal family saw this as more than a magnificent gift. It showed respect, hospitality, and desire for greater UK-Saudi diplomatic relations. These lavish presents are traditional in Saudi Arabia. The diamond pieces donated to Queen Elizabeth II and Princess Diana's sapphire suite are examples of Saudi leaders' prestige and benevolence in gifting precious jewelry to international dignitaries for decades. Although big, the gesture had layers of meaning. In diplomatic circles, lavish gifts typically carry concealed expectations. Hidden under their brilliance are unspoken obligations. Accepting such treasures may confuse kindness and influence. For Catherine, whose diplomatic duties as queen consort will rise, the stakes were high. Royal protocol, especially after its 2003 modification, advises royals to be cautious with pricey foreign presents. Every decision is considered for public and world perception, not just personal sentiment. Her remark beyond politeness. Catherine gently declined the multi-million-pound jewelry, but she continued. Instead, she picked something profound. A locally hand-woven silk shawl with traditional Saudi motifs and natural indigo dye. She then surprised everyone with a customized present. A London-made set of sterling silver cufflinks with Celtic knot motifs for unity and eternity. But was Catherine's passionate gift or her surprise refusal that shocked everyone? Watch to find out. As Catherine's sterling silver cufflinks with Celtic knots quietly traveled to the Qatari prince's home in Doha, another chapter of this diplomatic occasion was already underway in Riyadh. On February 18, 2025, the state welcome in Al Yamama Palace's Golden Hall was practically silent. The air was dense with expectation as all eyes were on Catherine. She was no ordinary guest. She was famous worldwide. World media and diplomats watched her every move and word. Accepting a £2 million donation from a nation criticized for its complex human rights record wasn't easy, thanks. The stakes were more complex. With millions watching in the hall and on worldwide news channels, Catherine knew her response would make headlines for days. In traditional robes and a courteous grin, the Saudi prince opened the velvet box slowly, as if aware of the occasion's seriousness. Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman is young for a powerful person. The 20-carat blush pink diamond at the center of the Rose of Jeddah shone under the palace chandeliers, surrounded by smaller, perfect stones that whispered riches, power, and prestige. Even a diplomat's gown's silk rustle sounded louder in the silent room. Conversations quieted in expectation, not flinching in a fitted emerald green gown that captured the light with each movement. The jewelry caught her attention, and she briefly admired its beauty. After an elegant lean towards the prince, her gaze melted into genuine warmth. She exclaimed, "This is exquisite." In the marble hall, her voice was calm and earnest. "The artistry is impressive, but your country's traditions touch me more. I would be deeply honored to accept something that reflects that heritage." Her words were carefully chosen, balancing gratitude with tact, turning what could have been a tense refusal into something altogether more meaningful. Almost instantly, the prince caught her intent. With a knowing nod, he gestured to an aide nearby. From behind a carved screen, a second gift emerged. A hand-woven silk shawl from Al Asad dyed in deep indigo and embroidered with delicate patterns of palm fronds and desert roses. Far from an afterthought, this piece symbolized the rich artistry and history of Saudi Arabia, created by local artisans whose techniques dated back generations. Let's take it back to the moment a simple indigo shawl emerged. What hidden message did it carry? Stay glued, you won't want to miss this. A gift, worn with meaning, Catherine's subtle message to the world. As the soft folds of the indigo shawl were placed in Catherine's hands, her expression shifted from graceful diplomacy to something warmer, more personal. Her face lit up as she gently ran her fingers across the delicate embroidery. The fine silk, rich in texture and story, carried with it generations of Saudi craftsmanship. "This is beautiful," she said with quiet sincerity, her voice echoing softly under the chandeliers of Al Yamama Palace that evening in February 2025. "And it means so much to carry a piece of your heritage." It wasn't just polite words spoken for the sake of diplomacy. Those close to Catherine knew this was her genuine way. Whether meeting school children or world leaders, her responses came from a place of real connection. A few nights later, during a private reception at the palace, away from cameras and media glare, draped the shawl over her shoulders. It was a subtle gesture, but a powerful one. Observers noted it immediately. Royal insiders whispered that the prince smiled when he saw it, quietly acknowledging the significance. This wasn't just about navigating protocol or sidestepping a diplomatic misstep. Catherine's decision reflected a far deeper understanding of the political and emotional stakes at play. A blunt rejection of the £2 million rose of Jeddah could easily have been misread as disrespect. It could have strained the growing trade and energy discussions between the UK and Saudi Arabia, talks that had been quietly progressing behind closed doors for months. By offering heartfelt praise for the necklace while choosing the shawl, Catherine found the perfect balance. It was a delicate dance between acceptance and refusal, between gratitude and caution. Royal protocol, updated in 2003, had laid the groundwork for such moments. But Catherine's response was more than following guidelines. It was instinctive emotional intelligence. She also knew that the moment wouldn't end in that hall. Social media was already buzzing with snapshots and speculative headlines. Every gesture was being analyzed and shared within minutes. Yet, what made this encounter stand out was its authenticity. Catherine's warmth wasn't staged. This was the same sincerity she showed comforting a child at a hospital or listening attentively to families at charity events. Royal insiders later revealed that the prince was deeply touched by her approach. Privately, he spoke of her with admiration, calling her a true ambassador for her country. But Catherine wasn't finished yet. Quietly, from London's historic Hatton Garden district, known worldwide for its master jewelers, she commissioned a final gesture, a bespoke pair of sterling silver cufflinks. Each was carefully engraved with an intricate Celtic knot, an ancient symbol of unity, eternity, and lasting friendship. And here's where Catherine's quiet diplomacy took an even more surprising turn. What final gesture did she plan next? Stay tuned as this story takes an interesting turn. A gift with meaning, Catherine's final touch. The design of the sterling silver cufflinks was subtle yet deeply symbolic, a perfect mirror to the cultural depth of the indigo shawl Catherine had so gracefully accepted just days earlier in Riyadh. Crafted in early March 2025 by expert silversmiths in London's Hatton Garden, the pieces carried more than just aesthetic value. The artisans behind the work came from families who had passed down their trade for generations. Each hammer, strike, and polish, infused with heritage and care, the cufflinks, finished to a soft gleam, reflected the understated elegance that had come to define Catherine's public image. At their center, the intricate loops of the Celtic knot intertwined with seamless precision. This ancient British symbol, found in stone carvings and folklore from centuries past, represented eternity, unity, and the unbroken bonds between nations and people. It was a quiet nod to Britain's historical identity, a delicate balance between tradition and diplomacy. But what truly set this gesture apart was the handwritten note Catherine enclosed with a gift. In her neat, familiar script, she offered her heartfelt thanks for the prince's hospitality during her February visit and expressed her sincere hope for a lasting friendship between the two nations. This personal touch, insiders later revealed, moved the prince more than any lavish present ever could. It showed thoughtfulness that transcended protocol and spoke directly to human connection. In diplomatic circles, gestures like this aren't just courtesy, they're carefully considered strategy. Catherine's choice aligned perfectly with royal guidelines, which emphasize thoughtful, culturally sensitive gifts over extravagant or controversial ones. The value of the cufflinks wasn't measured in money, but in meaning. A calculated, but genuine response that promoted British craftsmanship while respecting Saudi traditions. On social media, especially on X, formerly Twitter, praise for Catherine's soft yet powerful diplomacy poured in. Royal watchers called her gesture a masterstroke of soft power. So now why did Catherine's subtle gesture spark such global praise? And trend across social media. Stay tuned to find out. A diplomatic gesture that sparked global conversation. As news of Catherine's thoughtful exchange with the Saudi prince spread, it quickly became the subject of conversation not only across royal fan pages, but also in serious diplomatic circles. Analysts and commentators from London to Riyadh admired how she had taken a potentially tricky situation and transformed it into a celebration of mutual respect and cultural understanding. According to sources close to the Saudi royal family, the prince was more than pleased. In fact, during a formal dinner held in Jeddah in late March 2025, he was seen wearing the sterling silver cufflinks, a quiet but unmistakable nod to the bond that had been carefully forged. What made this exchange stand out wasn't just the beauty of the gifts, but the meaning behind them. This wasn't a simple trade of objects. It was a carefully built diplomatic bridge, shaped with sensitivity and secured with genuine respect. The way Catherine navigated the situation became a case study in modern soft power, proving that the smallest, most personal gestures can leave the longest-lasting impressions. So why did Catherine, Princess of Wales, ultimately turn down the £2 million Rose of Jada, a pink diamond necklace so rare and dazzling that it left many speechless? The answer threads together layers of personal belief, royal guidelines, media awareness, and a clear understanding of the world's watchful eyes. At the heart of it, her decision was about staying true to the values that have come to define her role as both a royal and a relatable public figure. This is the same woman seen dropping her children off at school in High Street, Zara dresses, delivering heartfelt speeches on mental health and engaging warmly with the public at charity events. Heads Together wants to help everybody feel much more confident with their everyday mental health. Accepting something so extravagant could have risked damaging that image, especially at a time when millions in the UK were facing economic uncertainty. Here's what made Catherine risk public backlash to protect her relatable image. Stay with us to find out why. Catherine's calculated grace, navigating tradition, politics, and global opinion. The decision Catherine made in that Riyadh Palace Hall in February 2025 didn't happen in a vacuum. Behind the scenes, layers of history, diplomacy, and protocol shaped every word she spoke and every gesture she made. One of the most significant guiding forces was the royal family's own internal rulebook, the 2003 Gift Acceptance Guidelines. A set of carefully crafted policies introduced after scandals like the infamous 1980s Oman sports car controversy. That particular event, where British royals were criticized for accepting lavish cars from foreign dignitaries, had left a lasting imprint on royal decision-making. According to these guidelines, members of the royal family are strongly advised to approach extravagant gifts with caution, especially when such gifts come from influential nations like Saudi Arabia. Lavish presents could create an unspoken sense of obligation, a diplomatic IOU, that even unintentionally might later complicate foreign relations. With Saudi Arabia playing such a pivotal role in the UK's strategic interests from energy to defense cooperation, Catherine's gentle refusal of the Rose of Jada protected not only her own reputation, but also the monarchy's long-standing position of political neutrality. The broader global context made the situation even more delicate. Saudi Arabia's human rights record, often a topic of international scrutiny, especially following high-profile incidents like the 2018 murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi, meant that even an innocent acceptance of a necklace could quickly snowball into controversy. Catherine, highly attuned to media dynamics and the ever-watchful gaze of social media, likely anticipated the waves of negative headlines and online backlash that could have followed. The memory of the Countess of Wessex's 2012 Bahrain jewel controversy lingered fresh in royal circles. A cautionary tale Catherine wasn't about to repeat. But more than protocol and politics, Catherine's choice revealed something far more personal. Her character, known for her hands-on parenting, heartfelt charity work, and love for authentic, people-centered gestures. Catherine's selection of the hand-woven shawl reflected her true self. It wasn't just about sidestepping trouble. It was about embracing meaning over material value, honoring her role as a diplomatic bridge between cultures. The world noticed. The reaction was immediate and electric. From the bustling newsrooms of London to cafes in Riyadh, her decision dominated conversations. British tabloids printed bold headlines like Catherine's classy snub and a lesson in royal grace. Meanwhile, broadsheets like The Times described her as the queen of soft power. Saudi media embraced the story. Outlets like Al Riyadh praised Catherine for choosing a gift that highlighted their artisan's legacy. Social media went into overdrive. On X, formerly Twitter, hashtags like royal diplomacy, Catherine class, and shawl over diamonds trended for days. Fans shared edited graphics of the shawl's intricate patterns, while others speculated about the Celtic knot cufflinks. One viral post read, "Meanwhile, a Saudi fashion blogger's detailed video breaking down the shawl's embroidery attracted thousands of likes for its deep dive into the garment's cultural significance." This was no longer just a story about a gift. It had become a global symbol of respect, restraint, and emotional intelligence. Even scholars and diplomacy experts weighed in. Dr. Aisha Al-Mansouri, a respected political analyst based in Riyadh, remarked that Catherine's decision to embrace the shawl wasn't just tactful. It aligned beautifully with Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030 initiative, a nationwide effort to celebrate and promote the kingdom's cultural heritage on the world stage. But what made Catherine's simple gesture echo from royal halls to global diplomacy experts? Let's find out. The ripple effect. How Catherine's gesture sparked global connection. As the international buzz around Catherine's diplomatic decision continued to grow, voices from the UK's academic and historical circles began weighing in. Professor James Hartley, a respected royal historian at the University of Oxford, publicly praised her thoughtful response. Speaking during a televised interview in early April 2025, he called the sterling silver cufflinks a masterstroke, simple, symbolic, and perfectly in tune with Britain's tradition of understated elegance. Analysts didn't stop there. Many began drawing fascinating historical parallels. Catherine's choice was compared to the cautious but meaningful gift exchanges orchestrated by Queen Victoria in the 19th century during her dealings with Ottoman sultans. Yet, while Victoria operated in an era of private letters and secret diplomacy, Catherine's challenge was uniquely modern. Every move she made was under the constant, unblinking eye of social media. Commentators pointed out that Princess Diana's acceptance of a sapphire jewelry suite from Saudi Crown Prince Fahd in 1981 occurred in a very different time. Millions adored Diana, but she wasn't subjected to the same 24/7 online commentary and instant public judgment that Catherine now faces. What Diana experienced through traditional press coverage, Catherine now endures amplified across millions of smartphone screens within seconds. This awareness of digital transparency shaped every aspect of Catherine's decision. By embracing the handwoven shawl and carefully choosing cufflinks that spoke to British artistry without extravagance, she avoided the kind of criticism that had plagued other royals in the past, such as Sophie, Countess of Wessex, whose acceptance of Bahraini jewels in 2012 became a minor scandal back home. But Catherine's approach went beyond damage control. It became something larger, a story of connection. Emotional responses began to pour in. Teachers in London shared how their students, inspired by Catherine's cultural sensitivity, created handmade greeting cards and sent them to a school in Riyadh. In return, they received bookmarks woven by local Saudi artisans, a small but touching exchange that symbolized the growing goodwill. What started as a delicate diplomatic decision was now creating real-world ripples. People weren't just analyzing Catherine's actions, they were emulating them. From community groups in the UK to student circles in Saudi Arabia, the story became a reminder that even the smallest, most sincere gestures could build bridges across cultures. So, how did Catherine's quiet decision spark a global wave of cultural connection? Catherine's quiet revolution in diplomacy. As the ripple effects of Catherine's graceful decision continued to spread, it became clear this wasn't just another royal photo op or fleeting headline. It was fast becoming a landmark moment in the story of modern monarchy. By choosing a simple handwoven silk shawl over a £2 million diamond necklace and later reciprocating with sterling silver cufflinks engraved with the ancient Celtic knot, Catherine, Princess of Wales, did more than navigate a diplomatic situation. She reshaped how royal diplomacy could look in the 21st century. Her choice was about far more than rejecting material extravagance. It was about embracing something deeper, shared humanity, cultural respect, and emotional intelligence. In a single gesture, she showed that connection means more than cost. While the glittering rose of Jeddah captured the light in Riyadh's chandelier-lit palace hall that night in February 2025, it was Catherine's warmth and sincerity that captured global attention. What makes this story so powerful is how clearly it reflects who Catherine really is. This wasn't a calculated PR move by palace advisors. This was a decision rooted in her own values, the same values the world has seen in her hands-on parenting, her tireless charity work, and her genuine, often unscripted moments with the public. Her refusal of the diamond necklace didn't damage the growing relationship between the UK and Saudi Arabia, quite the opposite. Whitehall diplomats privately praised her for understanding the subtle line between gratitude and political neutrality. Meanwhile, artisans in Al-Aqsa, where the shawl was crafted, felt proud and recognized, with local media calling her choice an embrace of our cultural heart. Fans posted side-by-side images of the shawl and the cufflinks, applauding Catherine's elegant solution. One viral post read, "She didn't just turn down diamonds, she turned on the light of cultural understanding." Another user posted a hand-drawn sketch of the indigo shawl with the caption, "This is what grace looks like." Royal historians also took note. Professor James Hartley from Oxford described the cufflinks as a masterstroke of soft power, simple, symbolic, and deeply British. Others began drawing comparisons to past royal gift moments, like Queen Victoria's exchanges with Ottoman sultans in the 19th century. But while Victoria's diplomacy was conducted through handwritten letters and private channels, Catherine's every move played out in real time across social media feeds worldwide. Her approach also drew comparisons to her late mother-in-law, Princess Diana. Yet commentators were quick to point out that Catherine operates under an entirely different kind of pressure. Unlike Diana's era, today's royal actions are dissected within minutes by millions, thanks to 24/7 news cycles and the reach of online platforms. But perhaps most significantly, Catherine's decision signals a larger shift in the monarchy's role in the modern world. This is a royal family adapting to transparency and public accountability. Catherine is leading that change, not with grand speeches, but through small, thoughtful actions that speak volumes. It's the first time we've seen the princess back in the public eye since tripping the color last month. By honoring Saudi traditions while showcasing British craftsmanship, she showed that diplomacy today is more about dialogue than display. Experts are already saying this moment will likely influence how future royals, including Princess Charlotte and Prince George, navigate similar situations in years to come. But what do you think truly stole the show? Catherine's symbolic gifts or her flawless diplomacy? We'd like to hear your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more royal stories.